Top mid laner.
Thank you, Pastry. I am here with Bjergsen. Congratulations after that win. You guys are still undefeated. Congratulations there. Now, you always have to be improving, though. Continuous improvement here. What are you guys practicing in scrims, trying to improve so that you don't drop any games in any of your series?
Even though we might look solid in most of our games, there's still a lot of weaknesses and mistakes that we're constantly doing that sometimes they're not being taken advantage of, sometimes they're not a big deal, but we're still really focused on those mistakes. And I think right now it's very easy for us to find things to be improving on. So we don't really have a problem finding issues.
Who is testing you the most in the scrims that you are having? Who's giving you the most trouble or exposing the most of your mistakes?
It's hard to say. For me personally, playing in C9, they're always really good at. We play very similarly. We put a lot of resources into the mid lane. When we played them on Friday, there was a lot of like Bard and Jhin rooms and a lot of interesting stuff. So playing in C9, me personally, I have to hyper focus all the time. So I always like playing in C9 and Jensen.
All right, well, congratulations. You guys also beat them as well in your best of 3. Now, looking forward for the rest of the split, some people always talk about, oh, when a team wins too many, then they get cocky, they get overconfident. Something might happen like what happened to Immortals last split. Are you guys actually worried about that? Is that a real problem to have winning too many series?
I don't think Consta has any ambitions to play Lucian top, but no, just kidding. I love Huni. But yeah, Weldon Green, our sports psychologist, he makes sure that we're not complacent. We're constantly working hard and always looking to continuously prove ourselves and never get complacent. So it's not too much of a worry of mine right now, but it's something that definitely can happen and something that we're looking out for.
Okay, well, stay humble, and we're going to send it over to the analyst desk for those guys to break it down.
Thank you very much, Kobe. TSM, it's getting to that point where you almost don't know what to say about them because, once again, they do exactly as we expected here. Very dominant 2-0 victory over NRG. This one even more so than the game prior. And if we do dive into this, NRG did kind of shoot themselves in the foot, starting in Champion Select. Let's walk through it. We see that Jax picked up, which Quas had been successful on in prior series, fall flat on its face this time around.
So blinding Jax is very dangerous, especially against a team like TSM, that their top 2 picks are champions that, one, Aurelia versus Jax is a skill matchup, and Swain will just flat out dumpster Jax. But they're like, no, we want to pick the Jax. Now, my theory for them taking Jax is because Twitch was banned, and their strategy has been, let's just pick massive wave clear middle with the Anivia and the Ziggs, just stall out forever and hope that we get to 6 items and then we can win off a certain champion, especially since it seemed to have worked yesterday against Team Liquid. And TSM is going to have none of it and just completely obliterate Quas into Flame Horizon. It was brutal.
Yeah, I think I would just like to get right into the replay that
we have a replay. Let's take a look at that. Level 1, Quas, on top of having blind picked the Jax into it, definitely doesn't play the early portion of the lane correctly.
Right, so what he's thinking here is he's going to shove the wave as much as he can, and then he'll go for like a base and recall as the wave hits the turret and he can reset, but you just can't push the Swain in like that. The Swain's fine with like just using the Q on the wave, and Quas keeps getting chunked out, and eventually Quas gets to a point where he can't get the wave in, and he's low, whereas normally you're trying to get the wave in, be low, and recall. So when he gets his recall off, he doesn't really get any items, the wave is frozen, and Sven, as we see right now, is on his red buff. He's doing just a bot side clear, and he ends up going behind Quas and goes over the wall
he'll do the patented Rek'Sai gank over the wall.
Yeah, and from there, Quas is just so screwed. Like, you have no potential to farm. He was down 30 CS at like 6 minutes or something crazy.
It's a death wish.
Yeah, and I mean, Sven even played it wrong. Like, he went onto the Gromp when Elise was on it and gave a kill away to Quas. Like, imagine how bad it could have been if Quas didn't get that kill. So.
Yeah, I mean, so we saw that. We saw it was like 40 CS to 14 at one point.
Right.
So then NRG makes a decision, well, let's swap our bot lane down there. We'll throw Quas into the top lane, at least try and buy him some time, but they swap him into a lane that's pushing away from him. And as you mentioned, we did hit the Flame Horizon at one point during that game, so Haunter just being an absolute monster on that Swain. He's shown that it's one of his top picks for this split, and for good reason.
I mean, it's good for TSM understanding when an enemy makes a mistake right from the get-go. All right, this is how we're going to punish it. We're going to make sure that we keep matching these lanes and just control the waves properly, gank it at the right times, and standard play by TSM, but unfortunate for NRG not being able to recognize the positions that they're putting themselves in, especially when you save the last pick for don't worry,
GBM Zig,
guys,
like
let Bjergsen have his I got Ziggs. Like what? No.
that's something that NRG is consistently doing is that they're giving GBM these last picks, and he's doing these like kind of weird counter picks that don't actually pressure the lane. They just farm evenly. Like he's going the Anivia into Vlad. He did the Anivia into the Ryze game 1. This game he goes Ziggs into Azir, and like Bjergsen's all over the map killing people. And Ziggs just still gets solo killed. It's just, I don't know.
Very questionable things from NRG. Great capitalization on that from TSM. We saw Ziggs getting pushed in constantly in the mid lane. Santorin then making a weird choice to invade the blue buff while his Ziggs is pushed in so Bjergsen can collapse. He ends up getting the blue buff early on in the mid lane. You know, that's a disaster. And so no surprise, 13 minutes into the game in the top lane, we get a 3-for-0 for TSM. And the game is essentially over off of this team fight.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to somehow pressure double lift, but he just callings the waves and backs off. They get the stun onto the Nami, but that's fine.
Here's
As
your TP
exhaust.
coming in.
So then Hanser comes in behind. Bjergsen's right behind him. I think Hanser could have even played this more aggressively. Just walk in there with your ult up, and if they turn on you, they're dead.
Maybe you die, but you've at least
kill
started
4.
the fight sooner.
I mean, they get 3. Who cares? Like, I mean, the game's going in their favor anyways. Quas almost picks one up onto Sven. The rest is just a chase down as Bjerg picks up.
What I really liked about TSM this game is that in the bot lane matchup, you saw them struggle early. Obviously, Caitlyn is a very lane-dominant champion, but they remained confident in their lane because Lucian's item spikes are going to be so much stronger than Caitlyn's early on, who usually tends to go with BF into Hurricane, whereas Lucian goes straight into a Yomu. So they're willing to take that deficit to keep the lead into mid and top, and once Lucian gets a Yomu spike, bot lane is already over. They're able to transition the top and the mid lane into bottom lane, and from that point on, NRG has absolutely no wind of coming back into the game.
I was going to say, yeah, the only winning lane for them was that Caitlyn Karma in the early portions of the game, but as we know, Caitlyn does take a little while to ramp up and get out of that trough that she eventually hits. Player of the game honors here, going to go to Bjergsen, 7-1-3 on Azir. There was some contention here. Of course, so many good performances on TSM makes it tough in such a crushing victory to pick just one player of the game. Hanser was the other guy in the conversation. But as we saw, Bjergsen roaming up to the top lane, full control of the mid lane, a couple sweet Azir plays and Azir sex.
Solo kills.
Yeah, exactly, solo kills. So more than deserving of the award, but Hanser was definitely in the conversation.
Yeah, I think the best play that he made was when, you know, Santorin went for that blue buff because Sven went bottom for that early gank. He punishes what is usually a pretty free trade, and they're able to get that first blood, and he gets the blue and is able to abuse Ziggs the rest of the laning phase.
Couples with the first game thing that we mentioned about TSM, where they're willing to give up their advantages to help everybody else on the map. So obviously, Bjergsen had a big lead on mid lane, about 8 CS at 4 waves in, which is ridiculous already, and he's able to just say, you know what, with this pressure, I'm going to make sure that Svenskeren does not lose blue buff, and immediately they punish Santorin, and as soon as they hit blue buff, you saw him almost solo kill GBM as well, so
yeah.
That game was over rather quickly.
Now, all in all, TSM still continuing their undefeated run. NRG still looking disjointed and have some questions to be answered. Now, before we go to break, we're going to take a live look in at LCS 2. We're at the 35-36 minute mark. Apex is making a move to close a 3K gold lead that Cloud9 currently has as they look to close out the series. Enjoy.
Meteos drops the ult. He wants to continue fighting, but the rest of his team had already bailed out. Now Jensen goes down. Yes, they do get the jungler, but not really an even trade there. Thankfully for C9, Impact able to escape by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, so when it's all said and done, Cloud9 were not able to take down that mid-tier 2 turret as Apex finally find a good fight. They still have Baron on Meteos and Impact, however, for another minute and a half. Sneaky's going to find some good damage onto Shrimp. There goes a calling on Nuke special. They're going to try to burst him down. He decides to turn it. Ray is in there immediately. Jensen's like, nah, man, I don't want any piece of this.
He has no Zonias, though. He has to be careful.
Jensen used the initial CC. Shrimp is going to overextend. Drops to Sneaky. Ray is forced to bail.
Okay, I don't think that Apex actually knew Jensen had no Zonias there, and they're being pushed into the side. They call it off and sacrifice their jungler. Shrimp really had no business going up there after Special got out if they didn't want to fight, so miscommunication. This means the base is going to be cracked. C9 is going to take the first inhibitor turret, but there's a fight in the mid lane.
Once again, a huge hit! Jensen and Sneaky are dead. Meteos is running for his life, but Apollo drops on the hunt. Ray might eventually catch it. Boomerang Blade is not enough. Yeah, Ray gets the kill. That's 3 members dead. Impact with the Baron is going going to be able to take down an inhibitor, but Apex are counter pushing and the Elder Drake has just spawned.
Yeah, they need to buy time though. They want to get this Elder Drake, but Impact is going to be continuing to push. Array has now based, and it's what can the team get off this? Impact needs to buy time. He wants to go around Dragon, see if he can harass them. At the same time, Shrimp is back up, and they are collapsing on the Elder. They want to take it. They have 3 Dragons. This would be huge for Apex.
Yeah, Keen doing so much damage, shredding through. Impact is on the side, but he can do nothing but watch as Apex take the Elder Dragon and get themselves back into the game.
I gotta say, I bet Bunny Fufu is regretting taking Ignite this game.
Yeah.
You want that exhaust against the Jarvan, and here it is once again. This is at a disadvantage. Remember, this is a 5v4. A nice engage, though. Pop, pop. 2 go down immediately, even through the Shen ultimate there from Impact. No chance for C9 once that happens. Fantastic engage from Xpecial. He pulls the trigger. Ray with the follow-up. Great stuff from Apex.
Yeah, with that, Apex have got 90 seconds.
A very competitive game, too, there between Apex and C9. Apex, as we just saw, picking up that Elder Dragon after a nice 4 kills. Of course, they did sack that bottom inhib, so it looks like that game might be going on for a little while longer.
That's a game that's scrappy.
Yeah, well, we did see, real quick, I just want to get your guys' thoughts on the Jarvan and the Cassiopeia picks here from Apex, because we haven't seen the Cassiopeia picked up yet. The Jarvan was picked pretty early into that Shen.
So I love the Cassiopeia pick. It's really good into Lissandra, and it can deal with very short-range threats, such as the Lucian and the Kindred and the Shen. But the Jarvan one, not so much.
Not
because,
sold as much
when
there.
you first pick a Braum, a key thing about AD Jarvan is that you can just pop the support very quickly, especially in the meta, which has a lot of AP squishy supports. That's a really easy target for you to constantly pick on. But against Braum, that's never going to happen. And against a champion like Lucian as well, who has a lot of mobility, unlike common meta AD carries such as Sivir and Ashe, Jarvan's just never going to have the chance. But
Yeah, Lissandra's not much of a target either with her ult and,
Exactly.
and his
Right, I mean,
only if they combo it well, though.
Yeah, and you saw that Jarvan was having a hard time getting into one of those fights near mid lane. He was just kind of walking in circles through Lissandra ult, through like a Braum ult, just couldn't get anything done. But at the same time, Alistair sets him up nice, especially as a good pulverize, and then next thing, you know, 2 people are dead instantly. So
Exactly, but the Cassiopeia doing work, and of course, he was willing to pick that Jarvan into the Shen. That game is happening over on NALCS 2, so if you're curious to see how Game 2 closes out between Apex and Cloud9, head over there to check it out. We've got to take a quick break over here on NALCS 1. When we come back, we're moving into our second series. Fox versus Immortals kicks off in just 3.5.
What a statement it would be to start this season so strong. NRG, though, have been only growing in strength. We'll see what they have in store for us in Game 2. Like we said, comps looking very similar. We'll see how they go on the execution this time around. Cocoon's good, going to keep him back for now, but Quas, I think, maybe going to be sacrificed. He is! Bjergsen in, there's 1. Now going to look for OQ as well. Could be 2. Never move down. Haunter claims that one. TSM explode across the rim. Bjergsen's here. Never move flash, but Bjergsen rides in for it. Oh, 2! Scoops him back, finds another Kiwi kid now. Going to get slowed up by the Rylers, and Bjergsen! Double kill. Tidal Wave gets OQ, he gets blown up by Pyrophrost because he gets the kill. Carling though is going to collect it. Actually, one of Bjergsen! Rides in, gets a 3-man ulti with a scoop. And now GBM's going to go down as well. A double kill for Haunter. TSM pushed through. And going to take out the Nexus alone atop the mountain. Your reigning kings of North America.